At 2 years old, my daughter was not a big fan of daycare. And I felt that, knowing she was different, but not yet knowing why. No inkling, no diagnosis as to why she preferred to play by herself or she spoke inconsistently. Then came the call from the educators. I was looking for comfort, compassion, and for empathy. But I was met with ridicule and criticism as her mother. She needs so much support in every activity. Do you even socialise her? I burst into tears and began defending my parenting. But it was pointless. They looked at me with disgust, and like my daughter was an inconvenience. The next day, they called me to say that she was sick. So I went to pick her up, and they said that she ate a banana and then vomited. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My daughter hated bananas. She'd even gag when she was in another room. So I asked them, "Are you sure she ate it? Or she was just around it?" And they said, "Oh no, she ate it." This broke me. She was either forced to eat that banana or she actually didn't even eat it at all. And they just called me to get her so they didn't have to provide that support. At 15 years old today, she has still never eaten a banana in her life. So either of my theories still feel true. But this still sits at the core of my trauma. My first time being labelled a bad mother. But knowing later on that she would be diagnosed with a permanent disability. We all know the saying, it takes a village to raise a child. But what does it take to raise a child with a profound disability? It takes hope and a village like no other. I'm a mother of 2 children with a disability, one with profound autism. After each diagnosis, my thoughts went to, well, what's this going to look like? Are they ever going to be independent? And what's going to happen to them when I die? That is my deepest fear, but I am not alone. So I surveyed 35 mothers exploring the mental health of raising a child with a disability. What they shared wasn't surprising. It was heartbreaking. 68% of mothers said the future of their disabled child was their greatest fear. 60% experienced poor mental health as a result. Poor enough to require medication, hospitalisation, or a formal mental health diagnosis. These are not isolated experiences. They're systemic. I'm a social worker in the disability sector, and I have seen my fair share of families hit rock bottom. I've supported them through a mental health crisis and through a marriage breakdown. And the one thing that helped them claw their way to the surface was connection. At the core of my work is to empower, not encourage survival. Empowering families of disabled children, it starts with connection. Connection reduces isolation. Connection reduces loneliness. And connection, it builds resilience. Empowering families isn't about doing things for them. It's about helping them thrive. Families raising a child with a profound disability are not indestructible. Like others, we're optimistic when faced with a difficult task, but it's one that has no instructions, one that has no boundaries. It's like free-falling constantly, and you're just trying to find something to hold on to. But what these families are trying to grasp is hope. Not necessarily a cure, not an answer to all the challenges. They're looking for familiarity, someone who understands that pain, someone who understands the struggle, a special village. Working with families in the disability sector is complex. What you say or what you don't say, what you do or what you don't do, can impact their day, their week, or even their life. That's why treading carefully matters. Understanding their grief, it matters. And understanding the mental space that they are holding, it matters. There are difficult conversations to be had, but they must be approached with care. Because empowering these families of disabled children, it starts with connection. And this doesn't just apply to professionals. If I've learned anything in my journey, both as a parent and a professional, if you know anyone raising a child with a profound disability, saying something is better than saying nothing at all. Silence increases isolation, but connection, it disrupts it. So we must shift the focus from asking, well, what's wrong with this parent, to asking, well, what does this parent need to thrive? It's a unique journey, grieving your child that is alive. It's a vulnerability that is uncomfortable. It's one that sits heavy on your chest, and it makes you second guess every word you've ever said and every move you've ever made. It can bring shame, but not necessarily because you've done something wrong, but because that vulnerability, it strips away the illusion of control. It reveals your needs and your insecurities. Accepting that I'll never be a grandparent as I watch others experience this. It's a small world, but in that smallness, there's also something else, connection. Vulnerability may be uncomfortable, but it's also the doorway to being known. Not just seen at a distance, but understood. So families must find a way to reframe their lives, to live and to thrive. Finding your people, finding your tribe, and finding your village. There are difficult conversations to be had. But empowering these families of disabled children, it starts with connection. Even in a life that is so difficult. Even when you're fighting a battle that can't be won. Supporting families isn't about control. It's about providing that path and that platform. It's about building stronger communities so that families can be autonomous in their own journey. Thriving means finding new ways to experience happiness, fulfillment, and meaning. And the thriving of others, it starts with you.